So there's a guy that's making abalone windshields for cars because, you know, the abalone can't really crack, so the glass, the shattering won't happen. We'll have abalone windshields, but the cool part about this is that you'll be able to make it in your backyard in a bathtub. So what Janine says is that the future involves exchanging recipes. It doesn't involve centralized manufacturing where everything is produced in one place and then it's shipped out. You are going to have the capability of pulling things out of a bathtub, literally, self-assembling. You put precursors to something in a vat, and you're literally pulling out a pot, a pan, a windshield, whatever you need. So just reversing the reality and all of it respects life. There's no chemicals involved. There's no fossil fuels involved. There's no transportation. There's shipping. If you start sitting with that, things start really changing. The same thing happens with renewable energy. There's a lot of reasons why there's a debate around renewable energy. Let's just all remember the fossil fuel energy is subsidized in the billions of dollars. Now let's take those subsidies and put it to renewables to be very competitive very fast. And looking at the price of oil right now, we know that we're not going back to $1 or below a gallon of oil. Never again. Gasoline, I mean. So let's get to renewables. Let's get there quickly. What that does also is it decentralizes power also. So you're manufacturing what you need at home. You have your electricity coming from perhaps urban wind. We don't see, I mean, it's amazing. We have breezes that come off the Pacific every afternoon. Why don't we see urban wind all up and down this boulevard? It can power so much. So we can do urban wind, solar, geothermal, and that's just this civilization not even paying attention. So imagine if we took all of our attention and all of our regions started to pay real attention to this problem, there will be a lot more that we can do. And so I want to talk a little bit more about intention and attention. And when you look at the data, and people always ask me, how long do we have, or things like that, and I say, well, it depends on who you ask. You know, Lovelock, who created the Gaia theory, says it's too late, it's over. There are other people that say we have 5 to 15 years to make a change, or we're on our way out. Other people say we're going to be just fine. So, you know, I don't know the answer to that. All I know is this. I love this quote, and it's Paul Hawkins, and he says, if you look at the data, you get depressed. If you look at the human heart, you have hope. And my purpose for making the film, and the reason why I'm here, is to call on all of us to really recognize that we came here to this planet at this time for a very specific reason. And the very specific reason is twofold, actually. One is to have the bravery to witness the hell we've created on this planet. And the bravery to witness this without running away, without shutting down, without pretending it's not there, without sitting in denial. You have to sit there, look it straight in the eye and go, wow, that's terrible. We really made a mess of this place. And this is the reason why. And stand with that and really recognize that, and then have the courage to say, all right, looks pretty bad, but we're going to try to make a change. And I don't care if I'm 5, 10, 50, 60, 75, 101, you have to make the change. And the change means starting to look, first of all, within, which I know you all do because you have this practice, so I don't even have to go there here. The next thing is to start looking at your life and really looking at the local place and loving your home, loving yourself enough to say, I'm not going to have chemicals in my life anymore because they're killing me. I'm not going to have chemicals for my friends. I'm not going to hire a gardener that has a leaf blower because it's polluting my neighbor. And it's not that, you know, and put it this way, give them a leaf blower that does not have fossil fuels in it. Make it electric, do something, but make our world safer, healthier. Love where your water comes from. Love the source of your food. If you love where your water comes from, you'd quickly get the chemicals out. You'd quickly try to find sustainable ways to catch the rainwater that comes into the city. Love how you eat. Love the farmer that is making your food. Buy organic. These are the things that you have to look at. These are the small acts of bravery that are really important to get us from the destructive place we are now to the restorative place we need to be. And a lot of it's scary. A lot of people look at me and go, God, you know, you're really bumming me out. You know, it's like really bad news. I wish you wouldn't talk like that. And you know what? It's not my fault. You know, you just open your eyes and this is the description we see. Look, if we did a movie and everything was great, that's what it would have looked like. It's not great. So how do you stay positive in a world that's falling apart? Well, you have to stick together, stick with your community, create a world that's beautiful around you, and just by doing that, that's a great start. We also talk a lot about networking the local, meaning once you have a local place, let's say you're here and we're starting to put solar on these buildings, maybe urban wind around, and you're thinking, wow, I wonder how Portland did it, because they have a street with urban wind. So you start talking to Portland. And so what happens is you start networking the local, and we're doing that with the 11th Hour Action. It's a social campaign connected to the film. It's called 11thhouraction.com. There's some people here, Blake and Johanna and Debbie, who are helping build this movement. But basically, it's a movement to help people help each other do local action. Because, yes, we need to work with the federal level. Yes, we need to take action on Kyoto and climate change and all of those things. But while presidents, prime ministers are acting or not acting, we can make major changes at home. There is so much power in that. And when talking to the youth today, we were saying, well, how do you take on the other side? Like, what can you say to them? And I said, you could take them on, but why waste your energy so much? I mean, if they're not with you and you're going to sit there, arguing with them all day long, well, what are you really doing, frankly? Recycling's not enough, I'm sorry. Let's recycle, but we need to do more than that. So what I'm realizing is I myself also am not doing enough. How do you take it up a notch? How do you do that? A young man over there at SMC was like, I want to do something. I say, well, ban plastic bottles on campus. Like, well, that, it's a little hard. I'm like, yeah, but what's to lose, Just do it. So try. So the call then is, how do you walk in a world that's scary, it's frightening, and not shut down, and find the solutions, and get over our own laziness, get over our own inertia, and how do we keep it going, keep it persistent, keep it truthful? Those are the things that we are called on as people today. Because without this action, we are not going to leave the world a better place. And that's cliche, but it's very true. Without this feeling of urgency coupled with hope and love, we're not going to make it. And so that's what I'm calling on with myself and others, is to be aware of what's happening. Don't let it take you down, and work together. Love yourself, love your community, and start making real changes. And that's the message of our film.
Whether the organizations that have the most resources or most power, how do we make these organizations make channels for people that are in a smaller levels to connect and then quit that other lifestyle,
Inner work is first, and we keep coming back to small groups of people as being very important to mutually reinforce change. And then to connect, like SGI is a global organization. So through even this organization, this group of people sitting here right now, if you sit together, start drawing up plans and things to do, and actionable items. This is not thinking anymore. We're talking about real action on the ground, physical manifestation of change. Then you can network that idea throughout your organization, So let's say you figure out how to cheaply install solar or cheaply do composting or what, there's so many things. But you network that knowledge throughout your organization. That absolutely, I mean, everything you say is true.